Hello, my name is Cindy Patipi, and today I will be presenting the lead poisoning crisis in Zamfara, Nigeria. The objectives of this presentation are to provide a comprehensive overview of the lead poisoning crisis in Zamfara, including its background, causes, and impacts, to analyze the environmental and health consequences of unsafe mining practices in the region, to highlight the response and interventions undertaken by public health officials and international organizations, and lastly, to discuss the challenges faced in addressing the crisis and the ongoing efforts required for remediation and prevention. The table of contents provides a structured overview of the Zamfara state lead poisoning crisis. I begin with the background and then make my way to discuss the environmental clues, the dangers of the lead contamination, and the extent of the crisis, finally followed by the challenges and interventions. In early 2010, a concerning pattern emerged in northern Nigeria's Zamfara state, initially marked by the mysterious disappearance of ducks, an event that seemed trivial at the time. However, this seemingly innocuous occurrence foreshadowed a more significant crisis. Within months, reports emerged of hundreds of children falling ill with severe symptoms like vomiting, seizures, and abdominal pain, leading to numerous deaths. The gravity of the situation prompted public health officials to intervene, assembling a multidisciplinary team comprising experts from organizations like CDC Nigeria, the Nigerian Federal Ministry of Health, the World Health Organization, and Doctors Without Borders. Their investigation uncovered alarming levels of lead contamination in homes and community wells, particularly in villages where gold mining had become a prevalent economic activity. This inadvertent exposure to lead, primarily due to unsafe mining practices and lack of protective measures, triggered widespread lead poisoning among children and animals, making it one of the most significant lead poisoning outbreaks recorded. The ensuing challenges highlighted the urgent need for comprehensive interventions to address lead exposure and its devastating health consequences in Zamfara's communities. This timeline chronicles the unfolding of events surrounding the lead poisoning outbreak in Zamfara State, Nigeria, starting from the initial disappearance of ducks in early 2010, which hinted at environmental hazards. This was followed by reports of hundreds of children falling ill with severe symptoms in May 2010, leading to the deployment of a multidisciplinary team to investigate the cause. The team discovered high levels of lead contamination in homes and water sources, particularly in villages engaged in gold mining. And this was later followed up by an implementation of control measures by stakeholders. This map of Zamfara highlights the geographical distribution of lead contamination across the region. It shows that lead poisoning and contamination were mostly concentrated in the northeastern part of the state. Childhood lead poisoning and lead contamination were widespread in surveyed areas, particularly among villages that had processed ore recently. During October 15th to November 18th, 2010, researchers visited 74 villages of interest. 54 of those 70 villages reported participation in any gold ore processing activity during the previous 12 months and were classified as ore processing villages. The most common gold ore processing activities were breaking rocks, washing, and drying. The study identified blood samples from 314 children, showing blood lead levels ranging from less than 3.3 to 65 micrograms, while soil and dust samples showed lead levels ranging from undetectable to 87,293 ppm. Villages engaged in ore processing reported higher incidences of childhood convulsions and deaths, and significantly higher lead contamination in soil dust samples compared to non-ore processing villages. Overall, the study highlighted widespread childhood lead poisoning and lead contamination, particularly in ore processing villages. This table illustrates the stark differences in lead exposure and its health impacts between ore processing villages and non-ore processing villages in Zamfara, Nigeria. In Zamfara, ore processing villages where gold ore is handled showed significantly higher rates of childhood convulsions, with 85% of children under 5 experiencing convulsions compared to 50% in non-ore processing villages. Tragically, these convulsions led to deaths in 74% of cases in ore processing villages, far exceeding the 44% rate in non-ore processing villages. Moreover, the prevalence of elevated blood lead levels was alarming in ore processing villages, with 68% of children having blood lead levels of at least 10 micrograms. Results of a remediation project in Zamfara, Nigeria, significantly reduced the soil lead concentrations across 8 villages. Prior to remediation, soil lead levels ranged from 19 to 35,380 milligrams. The intervention led to substantial improvements in blood lead levels among children under 5. Before remediation, the geometric mean blood lead level for children in this age group was alarmingly high at 149 micrograms. Following the cleanup, the blood lead level dropped to 15 micrograms over 4 years. In conclusion, the presentation highlights the lead poisoning crisis in Zamfara State, Nigeria, caused by gold ore processing activities.